Hey everybody, it's Brock and we got a brand new episode of All About. Hope you're all doing good out there. Today I got something unique for you. It's not a fish, it's not even a coral. We are learning all about the Knobby Fancy Brittle Sea Star. These guys are really cool to have in a tank and they have a really funny personality in them. Another word for them is the Chain Link Brittle Star. Now prices on them, you'll normally spend about $24 to get one. Varies on the size, a little bit smaller ones will be cheaper, bigger ones are normally more expensive. Tank size, it doesn't matter, but you do want to realize they do get big, so you don't want to put them in something too small. You definitely want them to have some room to run around in. In my opinion, I'd expect, putting one in about a 55 gallon. Care level, they are super easy to take care of. You really don't have to do much, it's mainly just about getting them into the tank safely, and then from then on, they are great scavengers running around the tank, fending on their own. Temper, now they can be semi-aggressive with some of these brittle sea stars. They will be more aggressive for food, so you definitely want to make sure you put the right fish in your tank so that you're not losing things that you really like to this sea star as he gets hungry. Reef safe, he is reef safe as long as you actually put the correct things in the tank. Bottom dwellers like gobies are definitely seen as a snack to this guy at some point as he gets older, so I would kind of stay away from that. They have also been known to go after people's snails and hermit crabs as they run around on the sand. They'll just pick those off in the night. And so you just want to be careful about what you have in your reef tank before throwing these in there. Temperature, I'd keep it 72 to 78, DKH 8 to 12, pH 8.1 to 8.4, and your salinity 1.023 to 1.025. Acclimation is a very, very important factor with dealing with any kind of starfish in the hobby. They are very, very sensitive to water changes, especially going from what they came in and what they're going into. So a slow, very slow drip acclimation is a must whenever acclimating these into your tank. If you normally do whatever your fish's time length in, normally I like to times it by 4. So we tend to do, your fish is for an hour acclimating on a drip. For these guys, you'll definitely want to do about 4 hours. And then if you do them longer, it's better. So the longer drip acclimation for them, slow, easy going throughout the day while you have them before actually putting them in your tank. And then another thing with the acclimation process is they do not need to be exposed to air. It'll close them up and it will harm them. And most of the time they will not survive it. So the best thing to do is have a bowl or a bag handy that you can completely submerge under the water, put him in there, and then once you put him in your tank, completely submerge that bowl before letting him out. That way he never touches the air. Max size from one arm to the other, they can get all the way up to 10 inches long. That's a very big starfish in the tank, and once they do get that big, they definitely see larger meals as their food, so you want to be careful. Some things like chromies and Bengal cardinals, those little cardinals that just kind of float around at night and hang out, they can definitely be seen as a snack later on. Colors on them, most of the time you're getting browns, blacks, oranges, and reds on these fancy ones. So they are very pretty, and the little knobs that are all over their tentacles are really cool to look at. Diet, so they are a carnivore. Spot feeding is also something you can do for these. While they are a nocturnal scavenger, they're going to be looking for food all throughout the night, so they are fine, but we also like to spot feed them too, just to make sure they do have enough in their system. Whenever you feed your other fish, if you're wanting to feed them flakes, liquid food, pellets, frozen food, anything like that, you'll notice his tentacles will start to come out crazily and shake around the tank as you feed your other fish. That's just him trying to catch some of that food for himself. What we also like to do is get little frozen shrimp from the grocery store. We'll thaw those out. We can cut up little pieces and put it down there where he tends to stick his tentacles out, and he'll wrap his arm around those and bring it to his mouth. It's really cool to watch. Origin, they do come from Indonesia. Compatibility, just as you can have multiple in the tank, and you can also have different types of sea stars in the tank. But what you want to keep in mind is they will compete for food if not enough is supplied to them. So they can see each other as meals if they're not eating enough or scavenging for enough food. So be careful whenever you're actually mixing them together. They do eat detritus and small organisms. So like I said, snails, hermits, cleaner shrimp, small bottom dwellers like gobies and wrasse. I would definitely be wary and pay attention to those fish because they can and have been known to go after them. Make sure you don't have any copper dosing in the tank. if you do have an ick outbreak or whatever it might be with your fish, you will definitely want this guy to be out of the tank before you dose anything because they will not survive it. Sudden spikes in the water, specifically your salinity or your nitrates, your ammonia, anything like that, he will be one of the first ones to go if your tank does spike too fast because they're just too sensitive. They can't handle it. So make sure your water changes are on point. Make sure you're topping off your tank with good fresh water. Keep that salinity in check and he'll be really happy. One thing to make sure, they do release a toxic mucus from their body. That's what they use to paralyze their prey and eat. So whenever you are handling them, they can release this. So just make sure once you're done handling them, you go and wash your hands thoroughly before touching your mouth or eyes, because if you don't, you could really cause an infection on yourself. In a typical tank, you're looking at lots of live rock, good sandy bottom, lots of caves in the back for him to hide in, and you'll typically only see their legs sticking out during the day. You'll say, oh, he's over there hanging out. But at night, you can normally catch them fully out, scavenging, running around the tank. So you bring out your flashlight and try to catch him, and I tell you, he'll be on the front glass running around looking for stuff to eat. That's really all you need to know about this brittle sea star. They're great to have in the tank, but you definitely want to be wary on what you put in the tank with him. So if you do have some questions about what's in your tank and if you could have one, please leave it down in the comments below or reach out to me on social media. I'd love to help y'all out. Thank you all for coming to watch this video. Happy holidays to everyone out there. I hope y'all all have a wonderful, wonderful time this month. Show lots of love to your family. Have a good time, and I will see y'all later. This video is sponsored by Dream Team Forever. This clothing brand is operated and owned by Brock himself, and he has those new All About tees that would be great for the holiday season for you and your family. Make sure to go check them out and get a couple for yourself. Happy holidays.